When we wake up in the morning, the very first moments of our day are some of the most important. Those minutes often set the tone for everything that follows. If we start rushed, distracted, and filled with worry, then the entire day may feel like a race we can't quite win. But when we start by inviting the Lord to walk with us, something shifts deep within. Instead of anxiety, we find peace. Instead of confusion, we find clarity. Instead of weakness, we find strength. Beginning the day with God is more than a simple habit. It is a choice to anchor our hearts in His presence before we step into the world's noise. Think about it this way: before the sun rises, before the phone starts ringing, before the world demands our attention, there is an opportunity to whisper, "Lord, walk with me today." That simple prayer is not just words. It is an opening of the heart, a declaration of dependence, and a reminder that you are not walking through this life alone. When you invite Him into your morning, you are inviting Him into every meeting, every conversation, every struggle, and every victory that day will hold. Some people believe they don't have time to pray in the morning, but let me tell you this: when you begin your day with God, He multiplies your time. He brings order where there is disorder. He brings calm where there is chaos. It does not require a long prayer, nor does it require eloquent words. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is the most simple: Lord, guide my steps. Lord, keep me close. Lord, walk with me today. That prayer, spoken with sincerity, carries more weight than hours of anxious planning without Him. Imagine the difference it makes to start your morning with His presence. Instead of reaching for the phone to scroll through news that breeds fear or notifications that spark comparison, you reach for the Word of God, you pause for a quiet moment, and you open your spirit to Him. That act shifts your perspective. It reminds you the headlines don't control your peace. The notifications don't define your worth. Your foundation is not in what the world says, but in what God has already promised. And what has He promised? He has promised never to leave you or forsake you. He has promised to strengthen you when you are weak. He has promised that if you acknowledge Him in all your ways, He will direct your paths. Those promises become alive when you invite Him into the first part of your day. They are not abstract words on a page. They become living truths that shape the way you think, speak, and act. You see, the world tells you to be self-reliant, to pull yourself up by your own strength, to hustle harder and fight longer. But the Lord tells you something different. He says, walk with me. Let me carry your burdens. Let me lead you beside still waters. Let me restore your soul. And when you begin your day acknowledging that truth, you step into your work, your family, your relationships, and your challenges with a peace that surpasses all understanding. There will always be days filled with uncertainty, with frustrations, with unexpected news that tries to shake your spirit. But if the Lord is walking with you from the moment you rise, nothing can undo the foundation you have built in Him. Circumstances may change, but His presence remains constant. You may not know what the day will bring, but you know who is walking beside you through it all. That is the kind of confidence the world cannot give. So I challenge you tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, whisper that prayer. Don't wait until the troubles of the day already weigh you down. Don't wait until your spirit feels empty. Begin the day full of His presence. Begin with praise even before you have a reason to celebrate. Begin with gratitude even before you see the blessings unfold. Begin with the Lord, and you will find that the weight of the day feels lighter because you are not carrying it alone. This is not just a spiritual routine. It is a relationship. It is an invitation for the Creator of the universe to be your companion in every step. When you start your day like this, you will walk differently, speak differently, and respond differently to the world around you. And others will notice, not because you are stronger, but because His strength is shining through you. So today, let it be your prayer, Lord, walk with me today. Life has a way of testing us in ways we never expect. One moment, everything feels steady, and the next, the ground seems to shift beneath our feet. Struggles come in different forms. Sometimes it's a sickness we didn't see coming. a financial burden that feels too heavy to carry, a broken relationship that leaves us wounded, or even a silent battle within our own minds. And in those moments, it can be tempting to believe that we are walking through them alone, that we are left to fight with only our own strength. But the truth is, when we invite the Lord to walk with us, He meets us right in the middle of the struggle, and His presence becomes the strength we never knew we had. You see, strength in times of struggle doesn't mean the absence of pain. It doesn't mean the storm suddenly stops raging. It means that even while the storm is still swirling around us, there is an anchor holding us steady. That anchor is God's presence. Struggles are not a sign that God has abandoned us. Often they are opportunities to draw nearer to Him, to discover that His grace is more than enough when our own power runs out. Think about how many times we've tried to carry the weight of our troubles on our own shoulders. We analyze, we worry, we plan, and yet the burden only grows heavier. But when we surrender that weight to the Lord, when we say, Lord, I cannot carry this alone, walk with me through this valley, something happens within us. The burden may not disappear immediately, but our hearts are strengthened, our spirits are lifted, and our minds find peace in knowing that we are not fighting alone. Strength is not always about breaking through walls with sheer force. Sometimes strength is about standing firm when everything in us wants to collapse. Sometimes it's about choosing hope when despair seems easier. Sometimes it's about simply taking one more step, whispering one more prayer, holding on to one more ounce of faith. And that kind of strength does not come from human effort alone. It comes from the Lord walking beside us, breathing courage into us when we feel faint. I've seen people who have gone through unimaginable hardship, and yet they shine with a light that cannot be explained by human resilience. That light is the Lord's strength within them. They may have been knocked down, but they did not stay down. They may have cried tears in the night, but they woke up with renewed faith in the morning. And that same strength is available to you. There will be days when the struggle feels too much to bear, when the enemy whispers lies that you are too weak, too broken, too defeated. But in those very moments, the Lord speaks a different word. My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness. Do you see what that means? It means that the very places where you feel inadequate are the places where His strength shines the brightest. Your weakness does not disqualify you. It qualifies you for His power to be revealed. When you allow God to walk with you in your struggles, you begin to realize that the battle is not yours alone. He fights for you. He surrounds you with His presence. He carries you when you cannot walk. And sometimes the struggle itself becomes the testimony, because when you come out on the other side, you don't just say, I made it through. You say, the Lord carried me through. That changes everything. And perhaps one of the greatest gifts of letting the Lord strengthen you in struggle is that you become a living encouragement to others. People will look at your life and see not someone who never faced hardship, but someone who faced it and was not destroyed. They will see someone who walked through the fire and came out refined, not consumed. They will see someone whose faith grew stronger, not weaker. And in their own moments of despair, they will remember your example and find courage to invite the Lord to walk with them too. So the next time life presses in on you, don't run from the struggle and don't give in to despair. Instead, remember that your strength is not limited to what you can muster. It is rooted in the one who promises to never leave you or forsake you. When you feel like you cannot take another step, whisper that prayer, Lord, walk with me. Be my strength when I have none. Carry me when I cannot carry myself. And you will discover that His strength is not just enough. It is more than enough. So today, let it be your prayer, Lord, walk with me in my struggle. Every single day we are faced with decisions. Some of them may seem small, what to say in a conversation, how to respond to a situation, what attitude to carry into our workplace or our home. Others carry much more weight. What path to take for our future, how to handle a broken relationship, what to do with the responsibilities that press on us. And while many of these choices may feel routine, the truth is that every decision shapes the direction of our lives. This is why asking the Lord to walk with us and guide us is not only important, it is essential, because without His wisdom, we are left to lean on our own understanding, and that path can lead to confusion, regret, and mistakes that could have been avoided. When we invite the Lord into our decisions, something powerful happens. Instead of rushing ahead with our own plans, we pause long enough to say, "Lord, what is your way? What would you have me do?" That prayer is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is humility. It is recognizing that the one who knows the beginning from the end sees far beyond what we can ever see. We are limited in perspective. We see only a small piece of the puzzle, but He sees the entire picture. Why would we ever want to navigate life without the guidance of the one who already knows what lies ahead? Some people think that God's guidance is only for the big, life-altering choices. But the truth is, He cares about the details. He cares about how you speak to your spouse or your children. He cares about the way you carry yourself in your workplace. He cares about how you handle temptation in the quiet moments no one else sees. He cares about the direction of your heart just as much as the direction of your career. And when you invite Him into even the smallest decisions, you begin to experience the peace of knowing that you are walking in step with Him. Guidance from the Lord is not always a loud voice from heaven. More often, it is a gentle nudge in your spirit, a sense of peace that tells you to move forward, or a warning that pulls you back when something is not right. Sometimes it comes through the wisdom of Scripture, sometimes through the counsel of a godly friend, sometimes through a door that opens or a door that firmly closes. But however it comes, it will always align with His word and His character. That's how you know it's His hand directing you and not your own emotions leading you astray. And here's the beautiful truth. When you walk with the Lord, you don't have to live in constant fear of making the wrong choice. Yes, there will be times you stumble. There will be times you miss the mark. But God is not waiting to condemn you for every misstep. He is a loving Father who delights in guiding His children. If you take a wrong turn, He has a way of redirecting you. If you lose your way, He has a way of bringing you back. That is why the key is not perfection. It is dependence. Dependence on the one who knows the road better than you do. So many people are paralyzed by indecision because they want to control every outcome. They are afraid of making a mistake, afraid of what others will think, afraid of stepping outside their comfort zone. But when the Lord is walking with you, you don't have to be bound by fear. You don't have to carry the weight of knowing the future. You simply need to trust the one who holds the future. His plan is always higher, His wisdom always greater, His direction always better than anything we could devise on our own. And here is the amazing part. When you walk in God's guidance, you also walk in His timing. That means you don't have to force doors open that were never meant for you. You don't have to chase after opportunities that are not aligned with His will. You don't have to exhaust yourself trying to make things happen in your own strength. Instead, you can rest in the assurance that what is meant for you will come at the right time, in the right way, through the right doors that He Himself opens. That is the kind of confidence and peace that only comes from walking with the Lord's direction. So each day, as you face decisions, whether small or great, make it your prayer to pause, to listen, and to say, "Lord, walk with me in this choice. Lead me where you want me to go. Help me not to trust in my own understanding, but to acknowledge you in all my ways." When you live with that posture of surrender, you will discover that you are never truly lost, never truly without direction, because the one who created the path is guiding your every step. So today, let it be your prayer, "Lord, walk with me in my decisions." There are moments in life when loneliness and fear press in on us with such weight that it feels almost unbearable. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. You can have success, resources, even recognition, and still feel the gnawing emptiness of isolation deep within your soul. Fear has a way of creeping in during those moments, whispering lies that you have been abandoned that no one understands, that even God himself has turned his face away, and yet nothing could be further from the truth. When the Lord walks with you, you are never alone. His presence is closer than your very breath, and his love has the power to silence the loudest fears. Think of how many people in this world are searching desperately for companionship, for belonging, for someone to truly understand them. They chase after it in relationships, in achievements, in distractions, but somehow the loneliness still lingers. That is because human companionship, as precious as it is, can never fully satisfy the deepest longing of the soul. Only the presence of the Lord can fill that void. When you walk with him, you discover a companionship that never fades, a presence that never withdraws, a love that does not waver even in your darkest hours. Fear thrives in darkness, but it cannot survive in the light of his presence. Fear tells you that tomorrow will destroy you, but the Lord whispers that he has already gone before you into tomorrow. Fear tells you that you are weak, but his presence declares that his strength is made perfect in your weakness. Fear tries to convince you that you are forgotten, but the Lord reminds you that he has engraved your name on the palms of his hands. When you walk with him, fear loses its power to control you. It may try to shout, but it cannot drown out the steady voice of the shepherd who promises, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. There will be seasons when the road feels especially lonely. Perhaps you are walking through grief, where the absence of a loved one leaves an ache no one else can fill. Perhaps you are in a place where no one seems to understand the struggles you carry. Perhaps you feel the weight of rejection, where the people you hoped would stand with you have turned away. In those times, the presence of the Lord becomes not just comforting, it becomes life-giving. He draws near to the brokenhearted. He binds up wounds that no one else even sees. And in the silence of your tears, he whispers words of peace that steady your soul. There is a story told of a man who felt abandoned during a difficult season of his life. In a dream, he saw his life as a journey across a beach. He noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, his and the Lord's, walking side by side. But during the hardest times, he saw only one set of footprints. He cried out, Lord, why did you leave me in my darkest hours? And the Lord answered, my child, those were not the times I left you. Those were the times I carried you. That is the truth of walking with the Lord. Even when you cannot feel his presence, even when fear tries to blind you to his nearness, he is still there, carrying you when you cannot carry yourself. Sometimes the greatest comfort is not in the removal of the storm, but in the assurance of his presence through it. Just knowing that the Lord is with you gives you the courage to face what would otherwise crush you. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but you know who holds you. You may not have all the answers, but you walk with the one who is the answer, and that changes everything. And when you come out on the other side of that season, you will look back and realize that what kept you standing was not your strength, not your resolve, but his presence walking with you. You will be able to testify that when everyone else seemed distant, when fear tried to grip your heart, the Lord himself was closer than ever. That testimony becomes a light for others, still caught in darkness, reminding them that they too are never alone when they walk with him. So today, let it be your prayer, Lord, walk with me in my loneliness and my fear. When we ask the Lord to walk with us, it is not just about what he does for us, but also about what he does through us. His presence in our lives changes the way we treat others. It transforms our hearts so that we reflect his love in the everyday moments of life. Love is not just a word we say or a feeling we carry inside. It is an action, a choice, a reflection of the God who is love. And when we truly walk with him, that love begins to flow out of us in ways that touch the lives of those around us. There is no shortage of anger, bitterness, and division in this world. You don't have to look far to see people tearing each other down, holding grudges, and living with hardened hearts. But when the Lord walks with you, he softens what has grown hard inside you. He teaches you how to forgive when forgiveness feels impossible. He reminds you of the mercy he has shown you, and in turn, you extend that mercy to others. That is love in action. It is not always easy, and it is not always natural, but it is the evidence that God is alive in your heart. To walk with the Lord means you cannot walk in selfishness. His love pushes you outward, to notice the hurting, to listen to the forgotten, to reach out to those who feel unseen. Sometimes love is shown in big, bold acts of sacrifice, but often it is revealed in the small, simple things. A kind word when someone is discouraged, a patient spirit when someone tests your limits, a helping hand when someone is in need. These may seem small in the moment, but in God's eyes, they are powerful demonstrations of His presence working through you. And let us not forget, love is more than kindness. It is also courage. It takes courage to love those who have wronged you. It takes courage to love in a world that tells you to retaliate, to hold on to grudges, to look out only for yourself. It takes courage to respond with grace when everything inside you wants to respond with anger. Yet when the Lord is walking with you, His Spirit gives you that courage. His love flowing through you is stronger than any bitterness, stronger than any resentment, stronger than any barrier this world tries to build between people. Walking with the Lord also means carrying His love into the places where it is most lacking. You may be the only glimpse of God's love someone will ever see. You may be the one who speaks a word that lifts someone from despair. You may be the one whose quiet act of compassion changes the course of another person's day, or even their life. That is why it matters so deeply that we not only talk about God's love, but live it, show it, and embody it as we walk through this world. Sometimes we think of love as something optional, as though it's a nice quality to have if we can manage it. But the truth is, love is the evidence that the Lord is truly walking with us. Scripture tells us that all the commandments are summed up in this: to love God and to love others. And when His presence is alive in you, love is not an option. It is a natural overflow. It is the fruit of His Spirit, and it is how the world knows that you belong to Him. Even when people reject you, even when they misunderstand you, even when they fail to return that love, the Lord calls you to keep walking in it. Why? Because that is exactly what He has done for you. His love for you was not conditional on your perfection. It was not withdrawn when you failed. It was not earned by your efforts. It was freely given. And when you remember how He has loved you, it becomes impossible to withhold that love from others. So walking with the Lord is not just about personal peace or private faith. It is about being a vessel of His love in a world desperate to see it. It is about letting your life be a living testimony that His love is real, that it transforms hearts, that it changes the atmosphere wherever it is carried. And the more you walk with Him, the more that love will shine through you, not because of who you are, but because of who He is in you. So today, let it be your prayer: Lord, walk with me in love so that others may see you through me. At the end of each day, when the noise settles and the business fades, there is a sacred moment where you can pause and look back. It is in that quiet reflection that you begin to realize just how much the Lord has walked with you through the hours that have passed. From the smallest details to the biggest challenges, His presence has been there, guiding, sustaining, and protecting you in ways you may not have even noticed in the moment. That is why ending the day with thankfulness is so important. It shifts your focus away from what went wrong, away from what you still lack, and places your attention on the blessings that were already given. Gratitude is not something that comes naturally when life feels overwhelming. Our human instinct is to rehearse our worries, to replay our mistakes, or to count the things that didn't go the way we wanted. But when you end your day in thankfulness, you invite the Lord to realign your heart. Instead of drifting to bed with heaviness, you rest with peace. Instead of tossing and turning with anxiety about tomorrow, you lie down with the confidence that the same God who carried you today will carry you again when the morning comes. Think for a moment about how many things happened today that could have been different. You woke up with breath in your lungs. You were given strength to rise and move. You were spared from dangers you didn't even see. The simple fact that you made it through this day is evidence of God's hand over your life. And when you take the time to acknowledge that, your perspective shifts. What once seemed ordinary suddenly becomes extraordinary. What once seemed insignificant becomes a reminder that God's goodness is woven into every detail of your life. Ending the day in gratitude is also an act of humility. It is admitting that you did not make it through the day by your own power alone. Yes, you worked. Yes, you faced challenges. Yes, you persevered. But behind it all was the Lord giving you the strength, opening the doors, and providing the opportunities. Gratitude protects you from pride because it reminds you of your dependence on Him. It is saying, Lord, I would not be here without you. Every step I took today was because you walked with me. And there is something powerful about speaking that gratitude aloud, whispering a prayer before you close your eyes, recounting the moments of blessing, thanking Him for the people He placed in your path, for the provision He gave, for the protection you may not even have recognized. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is an expression. The more you practice it, the more you see just how faithful He has been, not just on the good days, but even in the hard ones. Because even on difficult days, there is something to be thankful for. Maybe the trial was not removed, but you were given the strength to endure it. Maybe the problem wasn't solved, but you found peace in the middle of it. Maybe the answer you prayed for didn't come yet, but you can still give thanks for the God who listens, the God who hears, the God who is already working things together for good. Gratitude does not deny the struggles. It simply declares that the struggles do not erase God's faithfulness. And when you end the day in thankfulness, you also prepare your heart for tomorrow. Gratitude builds faith. It reminds you of how God showed up today, which strengthens your trust that He will show up again. It guards you against fear of the unknown because you can look back and say, if the Lord walked with me through this day, He will walk with me through the next. That assurance allows you to lay your head down at night, not in fear, not in worry, but in rest. So before you close your eyes tonight, take a moment to look back. Think of the blessings, both big and small. Think of the moments where you felt His nearness, and even the moments where you didn't, but He was still there. Let your heart whisper words of gratitude. Let your spirit rest in the knowledge that you were never walking alone. And as you do, you will find that thankfulness doesn't just end your day. Well, it sets the stage for tomorrow to begin with hope. So today, let it be your prayer, Lord, walk with me in gratitude as I end this day.